The report was detailing how much money was spent in procuring goods and services that are related to the fight against pandemic by each department. We release these reports every month and publish them on the provincial government portal for scrutiny by the public. We will also allocate projects valued at 2.29 billion through the open tender project. It is equally important to indicate that we have made significant progress to decentralize the open tender function with the aim of improving efficiency in the implementation of the projects. On supplier payment, all accounting officers in the province must pay for services rendered to government. I must emphasize to all accounting officers in the province that part of exercising prudent financial management and good governance is paying suppliers on time for services rendered. When you pay a supplier, you are not doing any favor to them. What you are doing is to honor an obligation that the state has to that supplier that has been rendering that service to us as provincial government. I thank you.
Colleagues, we are going to now open for any questions of clarity and so forth. So can I then take your heads, just say your name and the organization where you come from, and then you can ask your question. I'll start here.
My name is Abel. 142 billion budget for this current financial year will be enough to address some of those massive challenges, and how far do you think that amount will go in terms of recovering jobs that have been lost and businesses that have died? And then in terms of the revenue generation, you do indicate that the budget that will be, or the share from the national has reduced because of you trying to save costs. How do you then ensure that you collect enough? Are you going to be adding on the rates of some of your areas of revenue collection? Are you going to see more tax? You do indicate that what you're trying to do will lie less on introducing new taxes, but are we likely to see some being introduced? Thank you.
Thank you. Nika from Equal News. Let me see, in your own opinion, are these allocations enough, or are we able to be around to where to record in allocating to departments? And then number two, can you tell us if there are any departments that have underspent in the past financial year, and just elaborate just what happens to the money? And then number three, what's the latest information regarding the alien and cash threat in Fulani municipality? Just give us something on that. Thank you.
Yes, I think the question is really on the, it's a correct reflection. It's the GDP by the region has obviously shrinked by the amount that we have stated. As you know, that Gauteng is the major contributor to the national output. We contribute about 1.1 trillion rands to the national economy. So we are really then really reflected on that, and I think with the number of jobs that have been lost of over 600,000 is correct, as well as the number of businesses that have been closed. So all that really reflects the knock that our economy really got from the COVID-19. And really the question even often saying the budget that the MEC is presenting, is it enough? So in the nature even of really just budgeting, a budget is it's really there to satisfy unlimited resources. And I think as you then evident here when the MEC review then delivering the budget and that it demonstrates that Gauteng is a major player in the national economy. It is a major player even in the African economy. So the budget is really responding. I think as the statement reflected, 5 billion that has been allocated to infrastructure development, as we know that it is really key to be able to reignite the economy that has contracted and the jobs also that have been lost and the small businesses. So I'm just saying really that in the main, and as the statement also even indicated, MCS indicated the amount of money that has been allocated to economic services. It is to respond exactly to the issue that has been raised. The issue of the revenue reduced, our contribution as a regional economy in terms of the revenue that we're able to collect is about just really 5%. And in no way trying to cover for the money that has been lost through the fiscal consolidation that is being implemented. However, the focus is on ensuring that we are efficient in collecting on revenue. We eliminate leakages in the system, and also we explore new revenue measures so that we are really able to collect more. The issue really of underspending and overspending, it is always a crime in our language, in the treasury environment, to underspend and also to even use more than what you are allocated. So it's an issue really that treasury is managing on a continuous basis to ensure that we are able to stay within the budget. Yeah, so I think the question on included, I think we will see that. Thank you.
Thank you. On the issue of the indicated in terms of the money is enough, I think you can never have enough resources because we all know that Gauteng is at the center of our migration. So therefore the demand will always be high because we find everyone coming to Gauteng, which I do appreciate that you don't have a problem, but we have to have enough money for the need, the demand. Because the minute we get a higher number of people, then the demand goes high. So I think we still do need money. In fact, if you can listen to me when I go to the budget council meetings, the only thing that I always raise is that we need money in Gauteng. Because even if they say we've given you this child, I will say it's not enough because of the number of the population of Gauteng. We all know that. And on the departments that have underspent, we did have, even in the previous session with yourselves, that DIT and Health are underspending on their budget, including some of our entities. And I think it's something that we're trying to assist them to ensure that they don't underspend. And part of that assistance is us sending a team that is led by the actually now, with that team and the DDG supply chain in the province. Both they are working very close with those departments to deal with this problem that we've picked up, which is the problem of capacity in both departments. And even on the entities, those who are insisting to them that when we have taken money or allocated money to you, make sure that you spend the money. And I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to discuss with those MECs about the issue of them capacity in their departments. What are the plans? They will definitely take those plans and highlight the issues there. And on the issue of Mfuleni, as culture department, which is led by MEC Mayile, is definitely assisting in that area. Even there, we have a team, even a treasury and culture that meets every Monday, specifically discussing the issues of Mfuleni and ensuring that those problems that we know there was money that was allocated. Now the plans are in place. I think it should take, because we have checked with the Department of Transport. Plans are in place, including the Department of Rural Development on the environmental side, because we want to assist them fully. Our intervention as the province is that we cannot just go there and not do anything. We must always allocate resources to them, because before we were just relying on the national that they will give them conditional grants. But even as the province now, there is money which the provincial treasurer has allocated to specific departments to assist them fully. So we're monitoring that process, and we are praying very hard that things must go back to normal in Mfuleni. In the province, we have again the revenue enhancement strategy. That is the final stage now for approval, which we are going to submit in the cabinet, because it has passed all the stages, and we believe that that will assist us in terms of collection for the province, because we still want to collect more money. We've been hit hard by COVID-19, but we still believe that we can go back to normal and collect more money. And the other area that we're collecting money, which has improved now, is the gambling boards. So because at some stage everything was shut down, so we're unable even to get money that we used to get from the gambling boards in the province. I want to be honest with yourself. So one of the issues in this area of Mfuleni, which when we do our assessment as the department, we picked it up that is poor administration that we must improve. Hence, we have to have this task team that we felt it must sit every Monday, do the checks and balances. How far are they? What needs to be done? The expectations on our side as government. So I think we've tried to answer on the questions that were being asked.
Thank you very much, MEC Eshodi. Colleagues, any second round, any burning question that you might have? MEC, I just have one here on WhatsApp. It says, how will the decentralization of the open tender assist to improve efficiencies in the implementation of the systems, especially in the departments going forward? Basically, linked to that is, does Treasury not think that by decentralizing the management of the open tender, departments will not be able to then continue with the project the way in which it was run before? It's a question from the business team. Colleagues, any question, Mr. Mora, then followed by me?
Sorry, I just feel like one of the questions wasn't sufficiently addressed. So let's only focus on the jobs that have been lost. More than 600,000 jobs have been lost. The money that you're putting in, can you at least give us a sense of how many jobs can be recovered or new jobs would be created out of this budget? And then you're getting, is it 136 billion from national? Where's the difference coming from?
HOD, just for clarity, I wanted to ask you what's the ballpark figure estimation of people who have lost their jobs. And you mentioned something like 600,000. I just wanted to find out if it's the right thing. And then number two, HOD again. Now, to a layman on the street, you're talking about you're going to improve governance and reigniting the Gauteng economy. You know what I love, what you do, just for the layman in the street, because people need to understand what this government is doing in reigniting the economy and improving governance. You can just put it nicely in staccato style. And I must say, speak a bit louder, because where I'm sitting, you're speaking in low dulcet tones. Thank you.
My name is Octavia Fumani from Kofula Golden Highway Police. Minister, what I would like to know is that you have mentioned human settlements that you have allocated something like 34 4.3 billion that includes health and roads. At the moment, there is a backlog of people that are not yet in houses, that have not been placed in RDP houses, whereby they can be able to improve their lives. And now they've called in the 96 and 95 and 96, for Region F, that they are going to be placed in houses, but there's still a backlog of year 2000. Those people still, even now, they're not in houses. And there's the last one about the suppliers, that they need to be paid promptly. But now we want to understand one thing, that if only you're saying they're going to be paid promptly, is it before they render service to you, or it's after the service has been rendered? Because now even those small suppliers, they're small businesses, they don't have any capital that they can pay their workers and all that. Thank you.
Let me see my issues on education. And from the lockdown regulations, we realize that you are one way or the other forced to mimic the issue of homeschooling, because of every household with a structure at the back, it's an opportunity for homeschooling, because of that is the only way we'll be addressing the issue of bullying, overcrowding, and as we speak now, it's now termed lockdown learning. Are we running away from a simple homeschooling and forgetting about the mainstream?
Thank you so much, MC, and thank you, members of the media, for the questions. I really hope that I am loud. All right. No, thank you very much. I'm really just going to raise my voice and also just to speak really slowly. Let me just really start with the question on the funding sources for the province of Gauteng. We are funded mainly from the equitable share. So when you talk about the national transfers, so out of then the money that is collected nationally, it then has to be equitably distributed to all then the provinces. So that is really then the main source of funding. It is then allocated to the Gauteng government for them to be able really to allocate it to the priorities of the provinces. So that is the first source. The second source of funding that is also linked to the national transfer is conditional grants. So these are monies that really come from national departments for services that must be rendered at a provincial level. It comes with conditions to say that it must fulfill certain objectives, it must fulfill specific purposes that have been really then determined at a national level. So that really then accounts for 95% of our revenue. Then the difference of 5% is what then is collected on own revenue. So that's then the three sources of funding. Of course, as provincial treasury, we've also then really been mindful of the fact that we cannot really be able to receive a lot of national transfers. One of the things that are also important for us is to really then make sure that we create an environment that is conducive for us as a province to be able to also receive official development assistance. So that's really then the framework that we are also then just then working on together with then the relevant national departments such as National Treasury, DERCO, as well as DTR. So that's really the issue on the revenue. And I must also just then really then add, I think on the question that has really then been asked, to then say, even when we explore sources of revenue, it should be within the capacity of the economy. So it means that we cannot really then be expecting people to be paying more than that they should be paying. And the national issue that we are responding to, which this budget is also then responding to, is really the one of then the fiscal consolidation. So fiscal consolidation at a national level is acknowledging that our debt, the level of debt, I think we have seen as well in the national budget that as a country our budget deficit is sitting at 14%. So it means that we cannot continue to finance our budget on borrowing. We cannot borrow beyond what we can be able to then repay. So that's a fundamental issue that the budget is also then responding to. But also it responds to the issue really of then saying you cannot then tax people beyond a certain level. So those are fundamental really then issues that then speaks to the issue of revenue. I have really indicated, I think, the statement that the MEC presented earlier. It clearly states that 14.4 billion has been allocated to departments that are mandated to lead in the area of economic development. So it's economic development, and you know, we've got the SEZs programs. Premier even reported on the numbers, you know, of jobs, you know, that is SEZs. Again, with the issue of infrastructure, as MEC indicated in the statement, that the 35.3 billion also acknowledges the role of government to say it must create a conducive environment for the private sector to be able to create jobs. So the number here of over 600,000 jobs really that have been lost in Gauteng during COVID-19. That's really the figure that has really been reported officially. So that really, I think, then the response, I think, to that issue. The disorganization of open tender. Open tender, it's really assisting accounting officers. MEC of Finance, as she's going to be delivering her budget in the next coming few minutes, she allocates then the allocation. She has obviously the responsibility in her department to be able to monitor. But the procurement of then the goods and services is then sitting in departments. So open tender, the appointment of the probity auditors, ensuring that there is transparency, it's really there to enable the accounting officers so that really they are able to make sure that the tenders that are awarded really have then followed all the necessary processes. So yes, I think I think those are the ones I think that I can just respond to. Thank you.
Then on the issue, I think it would be qualified the issue of open tender, which is clear now, because we want accounting officers to take full responsibility from their departments. That's another thing. But we still have a team that works with them. We'll delegate, but we'll ensure that we monitor it, because our role as provincial treasurer is to do oversight over all government departments on their finances that have been allocated to them. Then the other one is that on the suppliers, we're ensuring that we're paying my sister suppliers within 15 days. We're pushing for 15 days, as much as we say 30 days, but we are saying those departments that are able to pay within 15 days or even earlier than that, they must pay suppliers, but you get paid when you have done the job. So that process must not be late. That's why we're introducing even e-invoicing. We're insisting that all departments must make sure that they are teaching the suppliers that they must use the e-invoicing, so that we don't use the manual. Because when you use manual, you will submit and then they will tell you that we don't see your document, they are not complete, there's that one that has disappeared. But when you know that you've done everything in the system, everybody can't say you didn't get your receipt that was supposed to invoice that was supposed to pay you. So I urge everyone to ensure that that process every month we report from the premier's meetings, which we always have with the premier, that these are the departments that have paid, and so that we don't lose track. And in a way, we're trying to name and shame, because once we know that the department is paid 62%, we want to know what is the problem. Because now, clearly, there's something wrong in your department. So we're encouraging them to ensure that they pay on time. Because it's so painful when you receive a call in the morning, a person tells you that I'm not been paid for the past months. It's very frustrating, and I think it's something all of us, we must fight about it. Let's expose those departments that are not paying you on time, even yourselves, because sometimes you do services, the departments, and you are not being paid. There was a question that you spoke about on the allocation that we have done on the human settlement. It's not only human settlement, that 34.2 billion. It goes to human settlement, to health, education, roads and transport. So that's the allocation that we're giving them. But the department will still come and explain in detail how much are they getting and what is that amount for. But we expect them to service the citizens of the country. But on human settlement, I acknowledge and I accept the backlog. We all know that we still have projects that we have not finished. All the your Bakersdale project, your Everton project, your Alexander project, all those big projects, we want the department to try and assist, finish those houses that were unfinished. So when you have a session with the MEC, find out from her what is the plan for that, because we have been allocating so that those houses are being finished. So all of them, including the ones that we highlighted, the underspending, they must tell you what are those projects that they've underspending. Because you need to know so that we all push them and monitor and do oversight over them to speed up that process. Then once off allocation will be made again, an amount of 66 million that was said it will go to human settlement again. So we've given them quite a number of money, including for hostel redevelopment, because we still believe that the hostels must be a better place to stay, because some of our relatives are still staying in the hostels. Some were, hence we are converting them to family units. That was that role that made us to do that. And I think we do agree, we know that the weakest link on the education in terms of overcrowding, during that lockdown session, we were exposed again, our children were unable to go to school. That's a correct question that you are asking us. We must have plans for that. Hence, we even now want all the schools to be connected. Connectivity is key, but you are saying again, the MEC for Education and ECAP, when they talk about their plans, they must tell us what are they doing to ensure that even if my child stays in Orange Farm, that child is connected. If it's not connected at home, but at least the multi-purpose center around the area must have connectivity so that children are able to go and do their homeworks. If another surge comes, because I think the third wave can come, we're not sure, we're planning for that. But if it comes, it must come. Now we've learned better now. We know that this thing is there. Our children, not all of them are equal. They need to be assisted. And this government is the one that must ensure that through the Department of Education and the Department of ECAP, connectivity is there. Hence, there is that 1.2 billion that we've allocated. Specifically for them, I always wanted to check 2020 because this is the one that does these things on Onyamo, these allocations of teaching money to everyone. Nami Manaisa Mankumanabu, having my other KPI because I'm directing department. So the treasurer was a little bit when they go to ECAP, we figure out any diary to now we represent that requirement. The department is money. So hence the connectivity is key, but Panyaza and Nomandi must talk to yourselves and tell you what are their plans about the connectivity in the school. That's a very good question. And I always talk about it, including the SMMEs, colleagues, the economic development must work with ECAP and ensure that those SMMEs don't struggle. The container is gas, the container by connectivity. And this is the government that must assist the SMMEs to have that connectivity. The lines that are there, because sometimes we realize that there are already lines that are existing from telecom, from all these other entities in the township of Vuma and the rest. But we must work together because as government we can't roll out even the broadband the money is not enough, but if we work with those that are already there, but spread those connectivity to the various important areas in our communities, that will benefit our own, that will definitely assist us. I'm not sure if colleagues will answer your questions, but I think, yeah, we will have a session, I gave it yourselves. You will still send messages to John. John, you will communicate with your colleagues, because I know, can I suppose I was a few of us, this is good, then must see
Thank you very much, colleagues, one burning question, then we close. You've already asked.
No, but it was not answered. But also the education was not answered, John.
So I need to bring it back.
Okay,
Because of the issue of education, we are trying to run away from it. And when you look at what the lockdown has actually exposed, it's homeschooling must be taken into consideration and must be budgeted for. So how many women are unemployed out there? Ex-teachers, you name them. And once you have this as a non-sector that it will rectify the issue of economy, why are we not budgeting towards homeschooling? And only when you look at it, government on the other side is only interested in mainstream because they've got much to gain there. But homeschooling, the pandemic is forced me to say you must look into it to address issues of overcrowding and also bullying and all that. When are we going to look at it?
No, I think you are asking us the correct question indeed of the homeschooling, but I know that for a Child Command Council, that there are those parents that want to take up the responsibility of homeschooling. After this meeting, please just drag Panya's and get back to like the president. He has not yet presented on us when they were presenting the issue of the homeschooling education. So we cannot say now this is what we've allocated. We only allocated for the education department, but you must tell us what are the plans for homeschooling. I think we are not running away from the question, but because the MEC himself must be the one that says, in our plans now, we're very open, because we said to them, go back during COVID-19, what we said, go and operationalize the operational plans. Change them to suit the environment of COVID-19. And part of those, we're thinking about the issue of homeschooling and the issue, what which I was talking about of the ICT. I know that one was me too, it's related to me. Hence I was saying I am working with him because that was part of the plans that as the Department of Youth are working with education, let us assist those children that are at school, at home, not at school. Because part of that ICT connectivity will help them. But Panyaza must give them proper plans on homeschooling. I will tell him to yourself, colleagues, ask him, because your questions are helping us towards we are able to know exactly what is the expectation out there. So that question indeed, I cannot say this is amount because I don't have any plans that were submitted to myself at HOT when they were presenting in the budget council that was specifically dedicated to homeschooling. So, but he must tell you that, so that if he has not, he must start thinking about it because that's one of the important areas that I know he said in the Provincial Command Council. A specific percentage which he said at that time, which was last year, this is the percentage that is set aside, not set aside that parents want their children not to go to school. They want to start at home and they will assist them. But as provincial government, I will not lie to you and say we have that plan in our table. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues.